The story of the young girl and squirrel. Once upon a time, in a cozy little town, there lived a young girl named Lily. She loved spending time in her garden, where she would tend to her plants and watch the birds fly by. But one day, while she was weeding her garden, she noticed a small squirrel scurrying around. The squirrel looked up at Lily and twitched its nose curiously. Lily wasn't scared of the squirrel. In fact, she thought it was rather cute. She smiled at it and said, "Hello there, little one. What are you doing here?" The squirrel chattered back at her in its own language, and Lily couldn't help but laugh. It seemed like the squirrel was trying to communicate with her. From that day on, the little squirrel started to visit Lily's garden regularly. It would watch her as she worked, and they would often chat with each other. As the days passed, their friendship grew stronger. Lily would often bring out some nuts and seeds for the squirrel to munch on, and it would scamper over to her and take them right out of her hand. Lily loved the feeling of the squirrel's tiny paws tickling her skin. One day, as Lily was sitting in her garden, she noticed that the little squirrel had hurt its paw. It was limping and looked like it was in a lot of pain. Lily immediately knew that she had to help her little friend. She ran inside her house and grabbed a small box and a towel. She gently scooped the squirrel into the box and wrapped it in the towel. Lily knew that there was a wildlife rescue center nearby, and she decided to take the squirrel there. The staff at the center were kind and compassionate, and they took care of the little squirrel's paw. They also gave Lily some tips on how to take care of injured animals in the future. The next day, Lily went back to the rescue center to check on the squirrel. To her delight, the squirrel had fully recovered, and it was bouncing around happily. The staff told Lily that the squirrel would have died if she hadn't brought it to them. From that day on, the squirrel never left Lily's side. It would always come to her garden and watch her work, and Lily loved having the squirrel as her companion. She even named the squirrel Nutmeg, after its love for nuts. As the seasons changed, Lily's garden transformed into a magical wonderland. The leaves turned orange, red, and yellow, and the flowers bloomed in vibrant colors. Nutmeg loved to play in the piles of leaves, and Lily would often join in the fun. Winter arrived, and the garden was covered in a blanket of snow. Lily worried about Nutmeg and wondered how it was surviving in the cold weather. But to her surprise, Nutmeg was still visiting her garden every day, even in the snow. It was as if Nutmeg had become a part of Lily's family. Years passed, and Lily grew up. She left her cozy little town and moved away to the big city. But she always remembered Nutmeg and her garden, and she would often visit her hometown to see her little friend. One day, as Lily was walking through her garden, she noticed a squirrel scurrying around. It looked up at her and twitched its nose curiously. Lily couldn't believe it. It was Nutmeg. Even after all these years, Nutmeg had come back to visit her. Lily smiled at Nutmeg and said, "Hello there, little one. What are you doing here?" Nutmeg chattered back at her in its own language, and Lily couldn't help but laugh. It was as if nothing had changed between them, even after all these years. They sat in the garden together, reminiscing about old times and catching up on new ones. As they sat there, Lily noticed something sparkling in the distance. It was a beautiful tree with golden leaves, and it looked like it was glowing. Nutmeg noticed it too and chattered excitedly. Lily knew that she had to investigate. She got up and started walking towards the tree, with Nutmeg following closely behind her. As they got closer, they saw that there was a small door at the base of the tree. The door was glowing, and it looked like it was inviting them in. Without hesitation, Lily opened the door, and she and Nutmeg stepped inside. To their surprise, they found themselves in a magical world filled with fairies, unicorns, and talking animals. It was like nothing they had ever seen before. The fairies welcomed Lily and Nutmeg with open arms, and they explained that they had been watching Lily's kindness towards Nutmeg for years. They had decided to reward her with a magical adventure in their world. Lily and Nutmeg spent days exploring the magical world, meeting new friends, and having incredible adventures. They rode on the backs of unicorns, swam with mermaids, and danced with fairies. As the days passed, Lily realized that she had to go back to her own world. The fairies gave her a magical amulet that would allow her to visit their world whenever she wanted. Lily hugged Nutmeg goodbye, knowing that she would come back to visit soon. When Lily returned to her world, she found that everything had changed. Her garden had grown into a beautiful oasis, and the people in her town had all become kinder and more compassionate. Lily knew that her adventure in the magical world had changed her and made her see the world in a different light. Years passed, and Lily grew old. But she never forgot her adventure in the magical world and the kindness she had shown towards Nutmeg. She knew that she had lived a full and happy life, and she was grateful for every moment she had spent in her garden with her little friend. On Lily's last day, Nutmeg came to visit her one last time. They sat in the garden together, watching the sunset and reminiscing about old times. Nutmeg chattered softly, as if saying goodbye. Lily smiled and knew that it was time to go. As Lily closed her eyes for the last time, she felt a warm sensation on her hand. She knew that it was Nutmeg saying goodbye in its own way. Lily passed away peacefully, knowing that she had lived a life full of love, kindness, and adventure. From that day on, the people in Lily's town called her garden the Magical Garden, and they knew that it was a special place where anything was possible. Nutmeg continued to visit the garden every day, remembering the kindness of the girl who had changed its life forever. And so, the story of Lily and Nutmeg became a legend in the town, passed down from generation to generation. It taught people the value of kindness, friendship, and the magic that can be found in the world around us. And in the end, they all lived happily ever after.